Hi, this is part 5 of Introduction to DMX Lighting. In this one, we'll talk about patching. There's two types of patching. There's hardware and software. Patching is a term used to assign a lighting fixture to a lighting console fader. Hard patching is a term where we actually physically connect the lighting system to the lighting console. Soft patching is a term that we use in DMX where we assign a DMX address to a console fader. In the old days, we used to have an electrical panel that had AC dimmers in it. So there were physical dimmers in it, and this is what actually controlled the brightness of a light. And each dimmer corresponded to a fader on a control board. And typically this rack panel, it was located in a separate room or a closet. The patch panel, you would physically patch the lights from the lighting grid to the rack panel through the patch panel. So what we'd have is our lights would be up here in the ceiling on our lighting grid, and we'd plug them into an electrical outlet. And the electrical outlet we'd plug into a panel here, which would then go to our dimmer, which would be in the rack panel in another room. And what would happen, this would match this light through the panel to the dimmer to the lighting console fader. On the lighting console fader, each one of these faders would correspond to a dimmer which would control one light. In DMX software patching, we patch a fixture's functions based on its DMX address. So as an example here, we have our RGBW LED, and what we have is our DMX address 24 is the master dimmer, DMX address 25 is the red dimmer, 26 is the green, 27 is blue, 28 is the white. And what we'd assign is these addresses to faders on the DMX controller. In the patching example we're using a Behringer Eurolight LC2412. Other lighting boards will be similar. On our board, what we have is the top row of 12 faders are the preset dimmers. So this is what we're going to be working with. These are the preset dimmers. There's 24, 1 to 12, and those are called the lower. And then we have a button over here called the upper button. When that button is lit, these dimmers now become presets 13 to 24. So we have 1 to 12 as our lower, and then 13 to 24 as our upper. How we select which one we're working on here is we have flash keys. So one of the functions of the flash keys, if I press the flash key here, what this is going to do is select this fader for programming. There's two special keys over here, special key 1 and special key 2, and these are used for controlling devices such as smoke machines, mirror balls, fireworks, etc. So one of the things we got to do more planning, and we're going to plan the presets, and what we want to do is plan what we want the preset dimmers to control. Now interesting, each preset dimmer can control up to 3 different fixtures. So in my case, this is the lighting I have. I have my color temperature light, I have a 12 LED moving head light, I have 4 RGBW lights. I've labeled them 1, 2, 3, and 4 just to keep track. Then I have a 7 LED moving headlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have special 1 and special 2 keys are going to control my icon. Over here I'm going to need a pan, tilt, red, green, blue, white master faders to control this guy. These two I'm going to call group 1, and I'm going to have them as red, green, blue, white master. Probably if I called them left and right it would be better, but call them group 1. Group 2 will be red, green, blue, white, master controls. I need this. And my 7 LED moving head, I will need pan, tilt, red, green, blue, white, master. Alright, so what my plan is that I'm going to have the first 2 par RGBWs are going to be group 1. The next 2 will be group 2. The very first moving head lamp will be this one. And over here, and that will be on the lower, so all these 3 will be on the lower presets. These 2 will be group 2, and this will be on the upper preset. And this guy over here will be on my special keys. One of the things I want to do is show you on the board here. So here's my preset dimmers. On the lower ones, channel presets 1 to 12. Here's the functions. I'm going to have group 1 master, red, green, blue, white. So these will be my 2 pars over here. Then I'm going to have my 12 lead wash. So I'm going to use pan, tilt, master, red, green, blue, and white. So these are the way these faders are going to use. On the upper presets, so when I toggle this into upper mode, this will now become presets 13 to 24. I'm going to have my group 2 par, red, green, blue, whites, LEDs up here. Then I'll have my other moving head up here. So, you want to label the presets just to make it easier. All right, so I've got my Eurolight, Behringer Eurolight console, and what I'm going to do is, part of my planning is I want to determine which functions and the fixtures are going to be assigned to the faders. So what I've done over here is what you can see is that this is the presets. The top faders are the presets or dimmers, and what we have is I put some white tape on there. Let's see if we can. And we have a choice here, is that we have 12 faders. We have our lower faders, which are these guys. It says, and what I've marked them, I said, okay, for my group 1, the first fader will be the master. Then I have my red, green, blue, white, and the last 6 faders are going to be for my moving head. And that, so it has pan, tilt, master, red, green, blue, and white faders, and this is considered the lower ones. Now the same faders are going to be used for upper, so what I do is I select my upper button, so that's the upper button. Now these faders have the functions up here, so they'll be group 2 lights. These are my par lights, and so what I'll have is over here I'll have my master for my group 2, red, green, blue, white, and then I have my other moving head. I'll have my pan, tilt, master, red, green, blue, and white here. So this is how the presets work. So part of the planning is saying, okay, what faders do I want to have which function? You're going to document the preset addresses, right? So I'm going to create a table, and the table is going to have a description, which is going to be the fixtures, console patches, special 1 key, special 2 key, preset 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fixture channels that I'm going to assign to it, right? And these are the DMX addresses that correspond to these fixtures, right? So in this case, DMX channel 1 from our DMX address table, we assign to ICANN RBX5. DMX channel 2 is the color temperature assigned to ICANN RBX5. Our group 1 master, we have 2 fixtures here. So our red, green, blue, white par 1 master is address 10. Our par 2 master is address 17. So we create this table. Preliminary setup, we want to make sure that all preset faders are down. We want to make sure that our bank is set to P. The bank could be from 0 to 9. We're just going to have it as P. That's for preset mode. We can use the up-down arrows to change that. The upper button is not lit because we want to do presets 1 to 12 initially. A fader is up. A controls the output of our presets. B is down. It controls the output of our scenes. Our master is up because we want to see an output. Everything else is down. And we want to make sure the only thing lit is our channel flash lit. We want to clear the presets, so we press the utility 2 key. And what will come up, it'll be one of the options will be DMX patch. We'll press the soft A key, which will then bring up this menu. When we press shift, when we press shift, it will bring up this menu. We'll see all clear. We'll press the soft B, and that will clear all the patches. And we'll press quit to return. So now we have a clean machine to configure. The very first thing we want to do is we want to clear our presets. So on this board, what we do is we go to the utility 2 key, we see that there's a option for DMX patch, which means we press this key, and then if we hit shift, there's an option for all clear. Now I've cleared the board up. So now that's the very first thing we do. First thing we'll do is configure the special keys. We make sure we're back in utility 2 mode, DMX patch, and then what we'll do is press the special 1 key, and what we'll see is it'll say channel 25 will be displayed and nothing will be configured. Right? We can assign up to 3 DMX addresses here. This would be one address, this would be another, and another one, so we can have 3 of them. Underneath it'll say something like D001NU CONN. D001 says this is, right now we're on DMX address 1, it's not used, and if we want to, we can connect to it. So we consult our preset table. We set our preset special key 1 is going to be preset 25, and we want it to be DMX channel 1. So what I do is I use a scroll key here, so I see D001, and it should say not used. And then what I do is I press soft key B, which is right underneath here, will connect. And then what we'll see is it'll say channel 25, which is our special 1 key, has now 001, is using 001 DMX address. And if we want to change our mind, we can press soft key B, and that will open it and unassign the address. And we repeat this for special key 2. So basically we press special key 2. This will throw channel 26. Then we'll scroll to DMX address 2, press connect, and then what we'll see is channel 26, 002. Something else is that we want to set up our special keys. Our special keys are right here, special 1 and special 2. So what I'll have special 1 will turn off and on my color temperature light, and this will turn on the change the color temperature. So we'll control this light with my special key. So special 1 will turn it on, special 2 will set whether it's the color temperature, whether it's tungsten or daylight. We can test the special 1 and 2 keys at this time. We press Q to return to preset mode, and then what we do is we can press special key 1, that will turn on the light. Special key 2 should toggle whether it's daylight or tungsten. When the special keys are not lit, the controller sends 000 to the DMX address. When the special keys are lit, it sends the address 255. All right, so I'm going to test the special keys, special 1 and 2. Some things that we want to be aware of is that all of our faders are down. These 2 lights are off. These are special keys. This is up. That's for this one. This is down. That's for B. That'll be something different. And over here the main is up. So if the main is down, nothing will come out of this board, so we have to have it up. We want it on channel flash, right? And now we're ready to go. So we'll take a look at our light. Our light is off. So what I'll do is I'll press special key 1, and it's on. Special 2 key should change the color temperature, and it does. So there's our tungsten color, and there's our daylight. And if I press my special key 1, it should turn off. So now we've verified that it works. We want to double check the initial settings. We want to make sure that all the presets faders are down. The letter P is up here. A is up. B is down. A is up. Flash button is pressed. And we're going to select the flash buttons now to select which preset we're using. Configure the first preset. We go back to Utility 2 DMX patch, and then it should display something like channel 26002 because that's the last one we configured. What we're going to do is press flash button 1 to select the lower preset one. So we go back here, press this button, and that's going to select this fader. Then what I do is I consult my Group 1 master, and it says preset 1. It should have address 10 and 17 in it. So what I do is I use my scroll key until I see D010, and it should say NU for not used. It should say connect. I press soft key B, and this will appear 010. So we've just configured DMX address 10 for channel 1. Then I scroll this over until I see D017, and I press my soft key because it'll say connect, and it'll say 017. Right, so now we'll know that this is configured. Channel 01 now talks to DMX address 010 and 017. I repeat the same procedure for presets 2 to 5 for Group 1, and here's a tip. What you do is you do all of RGB 1 first, so you go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then come back to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. What happens, it makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, you're scrolling back and forth from 10 to 17. Here, you're just scrolling from 10 to 11 to 12, right? Something else, the master dimmer preset 1 must be fully on to test the RGBW. All right, so what I have is I have my Group 2 lights, which are these two up here, and I programmed them, and now I want to test. So what I've done is this is the master. This is red, green, blue, and white. Now, if I just do red here, nothing happens. What happens is that you have to have the master on because it's going to control all 4 LEDs. And now if I turn up the red, I can see the red's there. I got a little red bulb right there. I can turn it down. Now here's my green. I have my green shining over here. Turn it down, I've got my blue. There's the blue. Turn it down, I've got my white. And there's white. And now I can turn up any color I want, or combination of colors. That's green and blue. Here's a little bit red, and we can have whatever sequence of colors we like. And we'll see up here too. Right? And the master will turn all of them down at once. Right? So we know that that works. Configure moving head fixtures. This console isn't designed for moving head fixtures. It works, but there are some issues that we'll see later. Right? So the difference between a moving head and the PAR is that we have pan and tilt functions. Right? We consult the preset table and configure presets 6 to 12 for the moving head fixture. We do the exact same procedure, except now we're just configuring presets 6 to 12. Test the moving head fixture. The RGBW master worked the same as the PARs. So here's our master, here's our red, green, blue, white. So we boost this up, and then we can test each one individually. If this is down, these don't work. When we test the pan, what happens with moving head LEDs is that they can pan a total distance of 180 to 540 degrees depending on the fixture and how it's configured. A lot of these fixtures is that you can configure how many degrees that this corresponds to. The same with tilt. Tilt is usually a distance of 90 to 180 degrees, and you can also configure it that maybe you only want this to move from here to be 90 or a full 180. Issues with the moving head fixture. Preset 6 is the master dimmer. So if we look at the master dimmer's configuration, it says from 0 to 199. If the DMX address is sent a number from 0 to 199, it's going to work just like a master dimmer like we expect. If it goes above from 200 to 250, it's going to act like a strobe. At 200, it'll be a very slow strobe. At 250, it'll be a fast strobe. Anything above 251, it'll be all bright. Right? So if you actually look at a fader, at about 75%, the fixture will become a slow strobe, increasing in speed. At 90%, it'll be just below 90%, it'll be a really fast strobe. At 90%, the output will be full brightness. Another issue with the moving head fixture is the pan tilt. What happens is that there are some faders downstream from the preset, and what we find is that we have a fader which will control all presets. Now what happens is, and there's also the master fader, it'll control all the presets. We have some cross fading going on, and that. So what happens is that when we turn down this fader, it's also turning down the signal sent to the pan and tilt. So what happens is the moving head will start to pan and tilt as you fade down, and it's going to pan and tilt not like you expect. The same with the master, or if you fade between scenes. So with this board, it really doesn't support pan tilt 100%. You can't fade between scenes, but you can jump between scenes. All right, so what I've done is I've programmed the moving head fixture up here, and now I'm going to test it. So very first thing I want to do is I've programmed pan and tilt, master dimmer, red, green, blue, white. So let's go take a look at this. So now I'm going to do a pan, and we can see it pans. Now this is 100% and that's 0. So you can program these moving heads for anywhere from I think it's 90 to 540 or 180 to 540, right? And this one we can move all the way around. Right? Now what I'll do is I'll do tilt, and tilt is working. You can do it from 90 to 180 on this one. Right? I can sort of position it any way I want. What I'm going to do now is turn up my master. My master is up full. I'll test the red. Red works fine. Green works fine. Blue works fine. White works fine. Now there are some interesting things when I use this master dimmer on this configuration. So I go up, I'm going up to about, sending out to about 75%, and I hit 75%. Now what you find is the function of this one says anything above DMX 200 will turn this into a strobe. So now I'm just getting up here. So now it's going to be a very slow strobe. If I increase it a little bit, it'll be a faster strobe, faster strobe, faster strobe. And lots of strobing. And I can bring up the other colors if I like. Turn it down, make it a blue strobe, green strobe, or any color I feel like. If I go farther than about 90%, whoops, I need a light on, it just turns on full brightness. So now I'm at about 90% of the fader's movement, and now it's just full. So that's something to be aware of. Now I'm just going to turn on a couple lights here, right? And we'll find out something peculiar about this board using moving heads. So we have two functions we haven't really talked about. We have our master for the presets, that's A. This B is the master for these, which will be scenes later on. And this is the master for the whole board. There's also some things that we can do cross fading and stuff, and we'll find out fading is an issue with moving heads, the way this board is set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm using the A master for the presets, and I'm just going to turn it down. Let's see what happens here. Now what we expect is the light to turn down, but it's also turning down the tilt and pan. So we'll find out as we do fades, our moving head is going to move all over the place. We have the same problem if we turn off the main master. What we find is that, so if we're trying to fade between scenes, this board will not work. And the only thing we can do with this board is cutting between scenes if you're using a moving head. When you configure the upper presets, 13 to 24, what you do is you press the upper button, and now what happens is these preset faders now correspond to channels, or preset 13 to 24. Right? And we use the same process. When we want to select channel 13, we press the flash key. What we'll see is channel 13 will show up on our display over here, and everything else is exactly the same. One thing that you want to make sure that you do is before you go to the upper presets, turn all presets off. Otherwise, the lower configured fixtures will stay lit. You might want that, you might not. All right, so basically what we're going to do is the upper presets, and what I have right now is I just kind of left this light on. This is on the lower preset, and to configure the upper, what you do is you press the upper button. Right? Now what happens is that these flash keys down here, they correspond to preset 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up to preset 24. But now one of the things you'll notice is that light's still on, right? So what you should really do is before you press the upper button is you just turn off all the faders. Now we don't have any other unusual colors coming on here. So now I can click on upper, and now I can configure preset 13 by pressing here. First I should go utility, DMX patch, and it's got it set for channel 13, which is here. If I select the next flash button, it now becomes channel 14. So it's the very same procedure as we've done before. All we do is we change one button, make sure all the faders off, so that way we don't have lights on that we don't want. This completes part 5, patching. In part 6, we will be creating scenes.